All right, everybody, how y'all doing tonight? I want to thank y'all for tuning in. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty for some reason through something with Blog Talk, I'm guessing. So let me transfer over here. Hey, James, you got me, buddy?
I'm here.
Oh man, thank you, Lord. Woo! I was starting to kind of freak out a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I was freaking out myself.
I was like, come on, man. I went through all the tests and everything was working fine, but for something, I don't know, wasn't dialing up right. I could hear you, but he couldn't hear me, and it was crazy for a little while. But anyways, everything started working when it needed to work. So I can't complain, not one bit. So anyways, guys, I want to thank y'all for joining in tonight. We got a really great show lined up. I think it's going to be probably one of our best shows we've had in a while, just by the reactions of James. What in the world are you doing, buddy? James.
I was trying to get the other headset on.
Oh, I got you. I was like, what is that ticking sound? But anyways, we got a great show lined up. We got Lefebre coming on. We know all the controversy. We just talked about it yesterday, so if you tuned in with us yesterday, you know everything we're talking about. He's going to come on. He's going to talk about the hype and all the hoopla that's going on with it. So we're going to get you guys to ask some questions. So far, we got people coming on. I want to thank everybody so far that has tuned in. And but also, you can see in the top right-hand or left-hand corner, of all our sponsors that help out with this show. You can also see them down in the bottom as well. So if you get a moment, please go check them out on social media, follow them, like them, and then check out their websites. Also in the bottom of this, y'all have to excuse James. He's got all kinds of beating and banging going on right now. But also right now in the bottom of this show, you can go through all the links that take you to all our sponsors and kind of, check out what all they got and hopefully get you some great products, especially from Yak Attack and Falcon Rods, Missile Baits, Accucoil, Bonafide. Guys, go check them all out. They got some great stuff. And James is going to be kind of monitoring the questions on the live chat tonight. So make sure you get your questions in for Lefebre. And James, like say, don't let me be egotistic tonight, and step in anytime you want to interrupt me. I don't care. So I just want to make sure everybody's questions get answered tonight. So, but anyways, Lefebre, he'll be calling in here in about, I don't know, about 7 more minutes. So, guys, if you missed last night's show, you can go on, check it out. It's going to be right under this one. Or you can go on iTunes or Blog Talk Radio or Stitcher and get caught up on last night's show. If you missed it, really good. We had a lot of great questions, covered a lot of stuff. We had a lot of great feedback today from that show. So, I mean, James, did you get a chance to kind of read through some of the messages and what everybody said?
Oh, yes. It was great. Seeing what everybody had to say and everything like that. It was really encouraging, and hopefully tonight it'll be even better.
Yeah, I think Dave is going to answer a bunch of questions that, there's just been some issues. I know a lot of people are really upset about the whole using a bass boat to practice with, and we talked about it last night. I mean, if there's no rule in place that you can't practice in another boat, I'm sorry you're not taking advantage of that. And I'm sure there will probably be a rule for that next year for that. So, but anyways, one more thing too, James. I don't know if you can check it out, but got the new Bonafide hat on. James, I know yours is here, and you're disappointed.
Oh, I see it.
Got the new Bonafide hat on. Thank Bonafide for sending everything. Yak Attack, Luther, John Hipster, Tim, all you guys. Everybody at Bonafide and Yak Attack. I can't name everybody right now. I've never been good with names anyways. For me to remember everybody's name, I'm sorry. But I just want to thank everybody with that. Let me go over here, make sure. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that he hasn't tried to call in yet. So James, what do you got planned for this weekend? Are you going to try to do any fishing this weekend, or are you kind of working? Or I know I'm working. I got wood to split this weekend, so.
Well, I'm going to be on the water, hopefully. So I hope you have a good time splitting wood.
gotta get ready for that winter. So, yeah, what are you gonna probably fish around down there in the lakes around your house? Or are you gonna go anywhere different? Or
Yeah, I'll probably just fish the lakes around here. The rivers are going to be torn all to pieces with all the little runoff and everything like that that's been going on. So I'll hit the lakes a little bit around here. Just play around a little bit.
yeah. Sorry, I was just kind of reading through some of the questions here. Give some shout outs. Fishing Online, thanks for joining. Grizzly Yacker, Bass Cat Dave. Bass Cat Lil Dave, sorry. Patrick Randolph. Russell Johnson set to hook. Some familiar names from last night, guys. I want to thank everybody so far tuning in. We see some of your questions coming in. What is Chris saying? What's Chris saying there, James, at the bottom there?
Plenty of guys bought bass boats to pre-fish with. They're just upset there wasn't his.
It wasn't his, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd totally take advantage of it. I mean, if I had mine and I made national championship and we didn't have the classic and all that going on, I probably would take mine. Cover a lot of water. Do what you can do. Granted, the rules probably changed by then, but
I actually thought about taking mine down to the national championship.
Yeah, I mean, you can run your structure
There's
scanning.
multiple bodies of water to fish.
Yeah, and you're not going to cover it all in a kayak. You're just not going to do it. So, yeah, I have a feeling that'll probably change, but Dave Lefebre, if it gets changed, hey man, you got a rule. It's your rule, so you own it. Not many people can say that, So we'll give him just a little bit more time to come on. Guys, we're also going to try to get Casey Reed to come on tonight. He's working right now. He plans on hopefully trying to get off in time to come on and kind of go over some stuff that we talked about yesterday that that we might not have clarified good, or we might not have got our facts right. We talked a little bit this morning. He said we was kind of hit the nail on the head when it comes to certain things we talked about. There was some things that we kind of had misinformation or something like that. So, and that doesn't bother me. He says that. I want him to come on and kind of get everybody or tell everybody where we kind of screwed up a little bit on some of our information. So, and that's fine because, like I say, we're all learning. We're still learning the whole KBF system. But he's also going to be talking about what's coming up for next year, what's in the pipes for next year, the 2019 KBF. I don't know how much he can tell or what all he'll tell, but he said he'll come on and talk about some of the plans that they got going on for possibly points or whatever. So I think that'll be good. James, we got anything kind of coming in right now? We're just kind of some questions right now, waiting for Dave Lefebre.
Yeah, the Eric Nelson. Maybe those guys, they can see if Kleenex will sponsor them, the ones that are complaining about them.
Oh, jeez.
And then we have some questions. We have some questions for Dave Lefebre when he comes on.
Okay.
So,
good. Yeah, I like seeing these.
I just thought that one. Yeah, that one brought it out to me, so I thought that one was pretty funny.
What's that bottom one right there say? I just want to see James's beautiful face. Woo, boy.
What in the world?
Oh, boy. GSP, dude. Oh, watch out. Huh.
Oh,
it's going to get kind of serious in here tonight. Got you a fan. I can't wait to get James on Skype either, because boys, wait till y'all see this guy. There's a picture of him right there, though. I wish I could zoom in on it right now. Let's see if Dave's called in yet. Waiting on Dave. Dave, come on, buddy. It's 9:10 now. I told him 9:10, kind of give us some time to do our intro. So we'll see what's going on. But anyways, yeah, like I say, guys, we've gotten a lot of subscribers today. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed so far. If you can, like I say, please share this video tonight. with everyone. And, we still take comments after the show. Love to hear from everybody. So if y'all can just, share it, subscribe. We're going to be doing more of this. We plan on doing more of these shows every Tuesday night. Granted, that was yesterday. But we'll also be doing our regular podcast show through YouTube Live as well, so we can kind of get everybody some interaction, asking questions and all that for the pros that come on or the guests that we have on. Let me go ahead and text him now. And
yeah, we have Chris. We have Chris on. Somebody is trying to call me right now.
It ain't
We're
me.
just gonna have to wait.
It ain't me, buddy.
No.
It might be GSP dude. Very well could be. Oh, all right.
Good.
We got Dave Lefebre calling in right now. Let's get to that. Hey, Dave, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad, buddy.
Good. How are you?
Man. I appreciate you calling in tonight, Dave. I know y'all got a busy schedule. It's probably been a crazy, crazy week for you. Tell us a little bit about the wind down process of after fishing the KBF tournament, and kind of getting back to I guess the elite side of things.
Yeah, wind down doesn't exist for me this time of year. It was a real crazy week. It was a unexpected, everything's kind of unexpected. Wasn't even sure I was going to participate in that event. I was going to originally planned on just helping out with Fishing Online was the big sponsor of that tournament. So I was going to go there and just help them. And somehow I got swindled into fishing it. And it just added more craziness to the already crazy week.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Fishing Online. I know, they're kind of a big deal with everything going on with the tournament. I see y'all had a picture of with everybody y'all took together up there, and kind of tell us a little bit about Fishing Online, if you don't mind.
Yeah, just a great group of people, and I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, and that's kind of who I like to partner with. Or the relationships that you make throughout the years are much more important to me than the money. I kind of stay loyal to partners for a long time. It's been that way my whole career. And they're just a good group of guys and girls that care about the sport. They're trying to do something positive, and I think they're much better known in your world. I should say our world pretty soon, but they're big into the kayak industry, and that's kind of how we met through Bonafide, and it's a cool deal. It's like I said, just good people, and that's where it all starts. And I'm looking forward to a long relationship.
Yeah. I was kind of doing some research with them today, and because I'm still learning some of these companies that are in the kayak industry, and there's more and more popping up every day, and so I was kind of looking around at them and seeing what all they had, and definitely it looks like a great bunch of people and a great business they got going on there. So let's go ahead and get James. What is well, actually, hold on a minute. Let me do this. So anyways, let's kind of get into the questions at first. Let's just get all the bad stuff out the way before we start talking about fishing and catching bass. So
that sounds fun.
So
and I'm anxious to hear some of the bad stuff. I've heard there is bad stuff. I have not seen any.
Yeah.
Just before we get rolling into the dirt, everything that I've heard so far has been 100% positive. It blows my mind. Just a overwhelming support. So I'm anxious to hear the downsides, and some of the stuff that I heard people are saying are things that I actually agree with. So that should be an interesting night.
I think the main thing is what kind of got it going. Well, this is just me kind of reading off of the social media stuff. Is some of the guys crying about a pro fishing in this series, and for me and James and most of our listeners all feel that it's a great thing to have an elite pro or FLW pro or whomever come in because of getting the exposure and kind of showing what the sport is growing into. And, you know, you being a pro, what is your thoughts about, you know, I know, of course, you're going to say, yeah, because, I mean, you come in and fish it, but how do you see the sport could grow with more pro fishermen coming in and fishing some of these events?
I don't know. In a nutshell, you know, I think more competition and more exposure is just a win-win, no matter what you're looking at. But you know, on the same side is that, you know, I didn't know whether, you know, I've kind of been on the side where I don't think pros should fish opens and pros should fish whatever they're called now, strands, lower level VFLs and things like that. I've always felt like I wish that wasn't the way that it is, but it is. And in this event, I really didn't feel comfortable fishing it. I never planned on fishing it, never, until a few days before. And I basically got talked into it, you know, and not to say the money isn't attractive, but I would have fished it, you know, if it was $100. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To me, I just, you know, I had advisors, I guess you'd call them, people that I've met, you know, since I got into the kayak world a little bit, and just, you know, when they brought it up, along with the Erie Sports Commission, you know, they helped promote the event here because it's a big deal for our town. But you know, everybody just was unanimous. Yeah, you should fish it. You know, so I basically spent hours and hours, you know, reading the rules, and those KBF rules are worse than the Bassmaster rules. I mean, I'm dead serious. I had to read through, and then get clarification through some people that are probably watching right now with John Harley and Seth and guys from Fishing Online and Russell Johnson and Chris Calori. I mean, I'm asking those, Noah Heck, I'm asking those guys all kinds of questions. Sometimes I got contradicting answers, which meant they didn't even know the rules. But I think, you know, I just wanted to get this. All I can go by is that, you know, they live this industry, and it's more like a culture. I've come to realize in the last couple of days, and I think that's the only thing that I could do is just go on their feedback. But you know, when somebody suggested I fish, and then I ask, "What do you think?" and everybody says, "Yeah, do it, definitely." And some of these guys are fishing the tournament too, so. That's all I could go on, you know, and I thought, if they think it's going to be good, let's give it a shot. And I'll tell you, I lost 7 or 8 years of my life this week, just in stress. I mean, you know, I give everything I got in every tournament, but this is a little different when you're thinking about the aftermath. You know, if I do this and I come in second, you know, how stupid am I going to look? You know, it's my front yard we're talking about. And with the conditions, I'm sure we'll get into that later, you know, with the transition, these fish are on the move, which meant it's very inconsistent. We're literally during the tournament. It started a couple of days before the tournament, and it's happening right now. You know, with the fish in that kind of an attitude, anyone could have won this tournament, and you can see by the final results that anyone could have. You know, one mistake here or there, and it's a different story.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. You know, just it's like me and Jane said. Heck, if we knew you was fishing, I'd have loved to come up here and fish it. You know, because it ain't many opportunities that guys get to fish against pros. You know, and it's not the fact you just want to go out and hammer them, but you just want to have the opportunity to see how you stack up. And when I got to seeing people crying about it, and I was like, man, what is wrong with you guys? If you're that upset about it, you already lost. It's like me and Jane say, if there's a pro in it and you're already upset about it, that means you already lost. Because, you know, you're not – you think you lost before you even put it in the water because you're worried that guy's already going to beat you. So I think for that, I think it's awesome. I know around here, John Cruz is from this area, and I would love to go out there and fish a couple of open events. I wish John would show up and fish a couple of them. It's just fun. It's just a good time, and I think I think it's going to do nothing but improve the sport. So,
well, I mean, I hope you're right. That's my only intention. I truly, I didn't know how I was going to react. I've never been in a kayak and had an opportunity. We got a little local TV show that we do here called Erie Extreme, and we're just doing the whole premise of the show is to do things that I've never done before, the stuff that I missed out on over the years. When I was younger, stuff that I've never done. I just was so focused on bass tournaments since I was a little kid. I just missed out on a lot. So that's what we're doing, and that's how this thing happened. If it wasn't for that show, I don't know if I'd have ever done it. We hooked up with Hans from Bonafide, and he drove all the way from South Carolina to bring a prototype before they introduced them to the world up to Pennsylvania, and I got to fish in one, and I was addicted from the first time I got in that thing. I mean, I kid you not, and it's been a learning curve ever since then, and I'm finding out, you ask a million questions. When you get into something new that you're unfamiliar with, all you can do is surround yourself with people that are better than you and know more than you, and it's just been a fun ride so far, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's the bittersweet part. I don't care. The adrenaline rush catching giant smallmouth out in the middle of the ocean, and it was blowing 25 miles an hour in the morning on day one, out of the south, thank goodness. But nevertheless, if you break down, you're drifting to Canada. So it was a pretty exhilarating week and something that I'd like to feel again. But I'm gonna just take it the same way as I took going into this first tournament. I just want to hear the feedback. If it's okay with the kayak community, that they feel good about it and it really does benefit the sport and help, I just want to do whatever I can, and I would love to keep fishing, but I ain't gonna come in the middle and step on anybody's toes and try to take over the world or anything like that. So I mean, we'll just see how it goes, and just keep listening.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm 100% sure that probably about 97% of the people love that you fished that event. Love that a pro come in, and I'm kind of just reading through, and James probably sees it, reading through the responses and comments, and everybody is just happy that you was able to fish it and that you did well. I mean, you're on your body of water. So I know there was another issue. I'll let James kind of go into that, and it's just kind of coming into the practice deal. But James, I'll let you go into that and ask those questions.
Yeah, I just noticed a bunch of stuff online about practicing out of the bass boat, which then after you start listening, it seems like a lot of that happens at every other tournament anyway, that a lot of people that fish kayak tournaments use their bass boat to pre-fish for the tournament. And if it's not in the rules, it should be 100% legit, which it's not in the rules that you can't use a bass boat. So to me, if you use the rules the way that they're used, then everything is legit. And I mean, how do you think about that?
Yeah, I can ramble about that. That's kind of a shocker to me, for me to hear that. The first question I asked, I think it was the very first question I asked was, how do you practice? How do these guys practice? Do they actually practice in their kayaks? And the overwhelming answer was no, they practice from boats. I fished with John from Fishing Online the week before, and there were guys calling him from boats that saw us that were getting ready for the tournament. So I didn't think anything was weird about that. So I'm kind of surprised at that argument. I don't even know what to say about that. I would say if it's in the rule, if you're allowed to do it and you have a bass boat and you're fishing Lake Erie and you choose to fish out of your kayak instead, I don't even understand why you would do that.
Exactly.
For me, I've never. I mean, it's in the rules. We're allowed to fish out. You practice out of your bass boat. So, for me, I'll just ramble a little bit. You know, even though I practice out of the bass boat. See, I don't have side scan yet on my kayak. And that's like crucial. I have that thing set out to 160 or 180 feet. And I know a lot of guys have it. I just don't yet. I have it, but not installed. And I was practicing within a mile and a half, I'd say. You know, we had a boundary of 2 miles out, which killed the local advantage for me, by the way. But I was fishing places where you could back your truck up to the lake and put a kayak in and not go more than a mile and a half. So I was fishing the same water, and the only reason I was putting in at Shades Beach, and it's kind of a funny story. Shades Beach is like less than a mile from my house, and I was putting in there just to decoy everybody. Like I was just leaving my truck in that parking lot and running to these other launches where a lot of guys fish, like Northeast, or not Northeast, 16 Mile, Freeport, you know, running to those areas and thinking that I was just making people think I was going to fish Shades. And it almost backfired because I ended up fishing at Shades, which was weird. You know, I'd never would have dreamed it in a million years. I didn't practice very much, and I wasn't really on anything solid because, like I said, everything was changing. And I couldn't really practice in front of Shades because there was so many, you know, there was several boats. Several of them were in our tournament, bass boats, and then there were several kayaks. So I really never even got to look until it was almost dark the 2 days before the tournament. And I finally got to side scan all that and find some isolated boulders, and I dropped on one and caught a 4-pounder, so I knew there was some there, and that was all I was going on. So it wasn't like I was on the mother lode or felt good about it. There's people listening right now that can verify that I was scared to death. I mean, I was like, I have to get lucky to win this because somebody's going to win it super, super shallow. And so,
yeah.
Anyway, the boat thing, you know, I don't even know what else to say about that. I can't even hardly believe that. You know, it's in the rules that way. That's the way.
Yeah.
I don't, and furthermore, I don't know if I agree with it. Like, that might be one of the things that maybe they shouldn't allow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. That wouldn't stop me from fishing. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what me and James been talking about is, you know, if it ain't in the rules where you can't use it, then and everybody else is doing it. It's just, you got some guys that don't have a boat. All they have is a kayak, and they don't have the ability to be able to get in someone else's boat and practice. So, you know, when they get beat, you know, people, when they get beat, sometimes they look for an excuse why they got beat instead of just they didn't get it done. And I think that's what that whole thing stemmed from. And it's not a lot of people talking about it. You just see a forum here and there where somebody says something about it. But like I say, on us, and probably most of the people we got listening right now, I'm kind of going through just looking at all these comments, and most of them are like, you know, at the national championship, you see guys, like James said earlier, with boats, you know, pre-fishing. You got to cover water. You ain't going to cover much water in a kayak, especially in the body of water you're fishing. So,
yeah, I know that, you know, I know that I met a few guys this week that practice in boats and towed their boats to Kentucky last year and everything. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's kind of get on to some positive stuff. I'm tired of the negativity and just the craziness of it. But, James, you got anything you want to ask him right now before we start going into? I know you can kind of been reading over the list or the comments here. Hope I didn't catch you off guard.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, now that you're qualified for the national championship, we've had multiple people ask that. Are you going to fish the national championship?
I'm 99.9% sure I have a conflict with that. So, but regardless, if I didn't, it would be one of those deals where I would just kind of feel out the canoe people, or the canoe. Oh my gosh, I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Well, there goes another comment on the KBF.
Let's go back to the negative comments for just a minute. No, yeah. Oh my gosh, I hate canoes. I swear I hate canoes.
Oh
what
man,
was that? I threw myself off there.
just talking about fishing.
Anyway, even if I didn't have a conflict, I would just want to see what the feedback is and stuff like that. And if it's good, I would obviously like to do it. It's a big deal. But if it's not good, it's not the end of the world. I'm basically doing this for fun. It's something that I enjoy, so I don't want to cause any more havoc.
Yeah. I don't think you will. I think everybody.
What it looks like out of all the comments on here, I would say 99% of them are all for you fishing. So that's what it looks like to me.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like in reality I'm not going to be able to, which is good. It makes it so there's no decision to make there.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's. You can see people making comments about the canoe already. They're laughing.
I should have wrote that on my hand.
Now, James,
kayak.
That's right, kayak. You got any other questions out there here? It seems like it's the board lightening up. It's a lot of people talking.
Yeah, the bass in the MLF stealing anglers. That's one person asked that. Patrick did. What do you think about that? I know it's not
can you
on
repeat that?
bass and the MLF series that's coming out. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, that's the PBT, the Bass Tour. It's is it the Bass Pro Tour? I think it's the BPT. But
it's a BPT.
Yeah, I'm really not allowed to talk about that, but we'll see what happens. There's all the information's about to come out. You've been seeing it spill out over the last couple of days, even today. So there's a lot going on. I can tell you, it's exciting. When you say you want to talk about positive things, you can't talk about anything more positive than the future of bass fishing. So hopefully in the end, or throughout the next few years, it'll benefit the entire industry, and it doesn't take away from our sport. Hopefully bass and FLW can grow from it, and but certainly it's exciting, and it breathes new life into you. So I'm looking forward to the next season and seeing what takes place.
Yeah,
big deal.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's, Bass has cut the field down to 80, it seems like, and FLW cut their field down to 150. So everybody's trying to compete now, which seems good.
Mm-hmm.
It makes
hopefully
put more money in the fisherman's pocket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you can't say too much more about that, because I'm sure that with bass and everything going on, they don't want nobody saying a word. Let's kind of go to your kayak a little bit. All right, I'm going to pull up a picture here. I got it just pulled up right there. Tell us a little bit about your setup, Dave. I see you got a regular depth finder. You got your regular Lowrance on there, and then you got your I keep wanting to call that chirp for some reason. I do not know why. Your scan. What do they call that thing again? Flasher.
Flasher.
Yeah, that's on there. What is that under that? What is that whole setup that you got right there? That's a beast of a setup.
The picture that you are showing right now. Okay, so I'm finding out the hard way that kayak fishing, your how you do things like evolves and it never ends, or hopefully it does end at some point. But I'm so new right now that picture right there is so obsolete. It's kind of funny. So I had the HDS 9 in there, and I had the structure scan, and I was in that flasher is below it. But I felt like the HDS 9 was a little bit of overkill. I mean, I even put a 12 in there just to look at it. I put a 16 in there just to take a picture, you know. But now I'm running. I started. One night I was just trying to sleep, and I was just thinking about, you know, I was in the middle of rigging the kayak up and had a lot of stuff. I was looking forward to the next day, you know, just checking it out, and I started thinking about my ice fishing stuff, you know, and you know, that's the stuff that we get out. I don't know if you probably don't do that where you're at, but it's a pretty big deal around here. And you know, all that stuff goes in a box and in totes, and it disappears until, you know, after Christmas. And it sits in totes for, you know, all spring and all summer and fall. And I just started going through that stuff and thinking about, you know, like not too many people know, but Hydrowave makes a Hydrowave Mini that's for ice fishing or for kayaks. The flasher, you know, that you see in there, I am using that. It's a Markham lithium shuttle, and it's perfect for in a kayak. It's inexpensive. I mean, when you can see a maggot in 50 feet, imagine what a spoon looks like in 50 feet, or a bass.
Yeah.
So it just kind of dawned on me to start going through this stuff. And then I thought, man, I got some ice fishing Lowrances. So I got out a Hook 2, and it's a very inexpensive unit that is loaded with features. I mean, it has everything that my HDS can do, that Hook 2 can do. And it's ice fishing again. So I, you know, got it out, had to tweak the mount a little bit to get it to fit on the Bonafide pod, and you know, stuck that on there. So right now, the setup that you're looking at there up on my electronics is the Markham is behind the Hook 2. So the Hook 2 is in front, and then the Markham is behind that because it's taller now. So I just switched those around. And what I'm doing with the Hook 2 is, you know, using it for GPS, obviously, and then for just straight sonar down. And I have that transducer mounted on the pod, you know, right under my feet. And then I have the flasher transducer way up front, you know, like 7 feet in front of me, so I can see two different places, you know.
Yeah.
Which is how I do it in my bass boat too. I've got units that are right under my feet, in the back, and in the front, and especially for Lake Erie or any kind of deep or, you know, vertical fishing, it's just such an advantage to have more than one cone looking down. The Markham is cool because it's got its own lithium battery, so it's all, you know, it's like a suitcase. You just pull it out of there, put it back in. It's got you know, that super bright LED lights. It's got 2 USB ports to charge phones or whatever you're doing out there. The battery is humongous, and it lasts. It's a very light, portable unit, but it lasts forever. Like, I think you can run it for 4 straight days.
Dang, yeah, that's a cool looking setup right there. I was looking at that. I was like, man,
it fits. You know, I've always been a guy that likes to tinker, you know, with stuff and try to build stuff, you know, and that's kind of another thing I like about the kayak world is it's fun, you know, to just trying to figure out how to make sense of everything and get it in there the most compact and out of the way that you possibly can. So right now, the way I have that set up is not the perfect way, but I think that lithium shuttle and also that Hook, that new Hook stuff, is really going to help a lot of guys save money and get the tools that they need, in these boats.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing everything that you can get and to customize and kind of make the boat your own. That's what we like about Yak Attack. Yak Attack it's awesome when it comes to customization because they kind of think of everything, that you need. So, and then just the other little things people do, just getting their GoPro set up and their rod and reel setups and like how you did your measuring board. That's a really great idea. And I see a lot of people starting to do that, and possibly kayak companies kind of getting into doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, just especially when you're thinking about doing tournaments, you just want to have everything out of the way. And a lot of things, that the bass world does in the bass boats is not done in the kayaks, and a lot of things the kayaks do are not done in the bass boats. And I definitely agree with you on the Yak Attack deal. Luther is a genius. I mean, some of this stuff really needs to bleed over, like the track mount system.
Yeah.
Where I can put whatever I need wherever I need it. In a bass boat, it just seems odd that we don't have that. I mean, it's something that needs to happen so that we're not. I mean, I drill God only knows how many holes in my bass boat every spring. So it'd be nice to have that track system and be able to put whatever you want wherever you want it.
You hear that, Luther? You need to start marketing another area there, buddy.
Yeah, just in case Hans is listening too, he told me to tell everybody that he's cool.
Oh, yeah, Hans is a cool guy.
Yeah,
so Luther's a
He's
genius. Yeah, Luther's a genius, and Hans is really cool.
Yeah, when you talk to Luther, when you talk to him, always seems like he's always thinking. You know what I mean? You talk to some people like that, it's always like they're processing something or thinking about something. It's just how they super nice people, great guys, and they got two great companies with Bonafide and Yak Attack. Everything's well thought out, and like I say, just great people. James, I'm seeing some of the questions coming across, man. People talking about you'll start seeing people show up with flashers on their kayak now.
Oh, you definitely will. You definitely will.
They won't even know how to read them. I
have
don't.
A question. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with it. But Said the Hook wanted to ask you a question. What were the challenges going from fishing from a bass boat tournament to fishing the kayak tournaments?
You name it. Everything you can possibly think of. I was trying to figure out how many days I had been in a kayak, and it's somewhere around a dozen, if that. I'm still scared of flipping over. I've never flipped over yet. I've never floated in the water with a life jacket on yet.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
I mean, no, I don't know. I wanted, since I only had a couple days to get ready, I wanted to go out there and experiment, and feel what it was like to be in waves. I'd never been in waves before. It's always like a little stream somewhere or a smaller lake. So that was a big challenge, the unknown. I was just really nervous. The other challenges, of course, are not having a trolling motor and being, having to use your hands to paddle or whatever, and so literally, all this happened at the last second, worked something out with the guys at Torpedo and got one of those on the boat. And I can imagine that's a controversy too, that because I just know based on the people that I know, some are just so against it. We want to paddle everywhere. They're against pedals. Some of the comments that I had out on the water, I had a lot of people around me the last 2 days, and they're making fun of me. Yeah, Chris Calori's a lot bigger than I am. I don't know if you know him, but he said real men don't have trolling motors, I think. And so you can tell there's people that believe in certain things, and you just never know where you're going to fall. But the way I look at it, it's legal. and it was a must-have for me. I got that installed. Got out there on the first morning, literally. Chris just got done making fun of me. He was kind of fishing way too close to me, and I'm joking, of course. But he said, real men don't use trolling motors. And then about 10 minutes later, I broke a cable, and I had to paddle in that 25-mile-an-hour south wind straight back into the ramp. And it took me, I lost an hour and a half of fishing time that first morning. And when I paddled by Chris, I said, real men don't use pedals. So, and then there's all kinds of other examples. I sat next to a very well-known kayak angler in the industry that I don't even know what they call him, the man or whatever. But I don't want to say what he said, but he just told me how to handle those Hobie guys if they're around. So there was I had 17 boats around me on day 2. Day 1 there was only 2, and mysteriously on day 2 I had 17, and most of those guys were Hobie guys, so I let them have it. That almost didn't work out. I almost found out what it was like to flip over that after that comment.
Yeah. So that's got to talk. I know you
hopefully
had.
I answered your question. There's a lot of things. In my boat, everything's controlled to a T, and everything's in its place. Everything's perfect. And when you don't have that muscle memory and that thing, just things happening the way it's supposed to, it's a scary feeling. So that's what I was doing in rigging my boat, trying to get it, just as smooth as I could, everything out of the way. And I'll tell you, after day 2, or during the middle of day 2, I really started feeling comfortable, and but it literally took that long. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the biggest thing for me when I went, because that's what we come from, is fishing bass boats and local events and stuff. And the biggest thing for me, because I love throwing a Carolina rig a lot and crankbaits. So when I switched over from that, is casting different. When you're so low to the water, when you're trying to really zing one out there, you're either worried about hitting your power pole in the back of the boat, which I've done several times, snapping my line with a Carolina rig, or smacking water, backlashing. James, you seen when I was fishing a whopper plopper, I totally blew up a bait caster one time. I was trying to do a roll cast and smack the water. And that's been like the biggest problem with me, is switching from a bass boat to fishing a kayak, is you're so much lower to the water. It's hard to do some of those specialty casts that you like to do.
That's one of the benefits of the Bonafide too. Not just to throw a meaningless plug out there, but that high seat position is really amazing.
Yep.
I mean, I got to sit in 2 other boats that that just had the typical seating, and I really feel like that makes a difference. I'm glad that I'm starting in a Bonafide, so I can be up a little bit higher. Plus you can see so much better. I mean, every 6 inches makes a huge difference in what you can see. So,
yeah.
But I haven't been in that position yet. I've fished little streams mostly, and where you're kind of close to the bank, just pitching a buzzbait around there, or a spinnerbait or whatever, or dropping. In this tournament, I never made a cast. It was just dropping straight down. So I'm sure those problems I can look forward to.
Yeah. Let's kind of get into into actually the fishing part of it with the practice. I got a lure here. I got your drop shot that you pulled up. You was telling everybody it was kind of like your main go-to bait, which you caught most of your fish off of. When you was practicing, what were things you were looking for? You looking for rock piles? I've never fished. Me or James never fished any of the Great Lakes. So when it goes to it, what do you look for when you go fish a big body of water like that?
You look for first of all, you look for a place that's not on Lake Erie. So I wasted a lot of time in Presque Isle Bay. I'm a largemouth nut. I mean, I would so much all growing up, and when I used to fish clubs and regional stuff locally, I would always try to beat everybody with largemouth, and I always got my butt kicked. So that's my main focus. I want to try to catch largemouth. So I spent most of my time in the bay, just thinking, this is a kayak tournament. This is the ocean. There's no way we're going to fish 2 days in a row on Lake Erie. No way, especially in September. So I wasted a lot of time in the bay. If it would have been in the bay, it would have been awesome. But anyway, it turned out to be the lake. So my main goal out there was to try to figure out where the 6-pounders went that we were catching a week before. That, a lot of fish were out in that 45 to 55 range.
Mm-hmm.
And, the week before it was 107 inches a day was going to win. And so that kind of burned most of my practice time on the main lake, as I was trying to, just revisiting all these spots where all those big ones were, trying to figure out, where they went. So I had a horrible practice. I mean, I really did. It's kind of like you swallowed your tongue. I couldn't catch my breath when I got out there and all the fish were gone. It went from marking fish everywhere, like insane, to zero. I mean, walleyes were gone, everything.
That's crazy.
At that point, it's fall, fall's coming. It's all about emerald shiners and smelt, but usually emerald shiners in the fall. They're going shallow. It's usually around my birthday, which is 10 days from now, the end of September, early October. But I found out it was happening, the day before the tournament. And we had to quit. We had to be off the water at 4. And gosh, it was probably an hour before the cutoff when I started to figure that out. So it was, just a major transition tournament, which, I'm never going to say that I don't have an advantage living here. But if there's ever a time when a local guy does not have an advantage, it's during any type of transition. And this was, a massive rush to the bank. I mean, some of these guys caught their, big bags of fish in less than 10 feet of water. A lot of them were in 15, and that just don't usually happen this early. So,
yeah.
I just had I did not have a good practice.
So when it come down to tournament time, are you kind of drifting? Are you drifting with this bait? So I know you're dropping it down, but are you having to drop it down and drift over? Because I didn't have the wind and everything.
No, I was, the torpedo was very, very important with what I was doing. I was running and gunning isolated boulders. I had side scanned the entire shoal out in front of Shades Beach, and I had side scanned the entire shoal out off of Sewerwood, which is about 6 miles to the east. And I just found every single boulder. Like I said, 2 days before the tournament, right before dark, I found, I got a big bite on a boulder, and then I marked some fish on other ones and never fished them because there was just too many people practicing around there. So it was all about finding those boulders on the side scan, marking them. I've never fished those boulders in my life. They're only there in the spring, the fish, and they use those transition routes to head shallow in the fall like they're doing now. And that's pretty much all I did. I went from one rock to the next rock, tried to figure out how the fish are very, very, very hard to catch. Unless you're on just a group of fish that no one's fishing on and no one's found and they've never seen a lure before. But the ones I was fishing for were extremely hard to catch. So just that's where my experience, I think that's the only area where it helped, just little different, like going to a smaller hook. I was using a tiny little number 4. Most people use a number 1. I was using 4-pound test and 6-pound test, but when it got tough, I was dropping 4. small, just smaller baits. Sometimes it's a bigger bait, but just having a variety, and went through a bunch of different baits on the second day. So that's what it was, 5.5 miles an hour from one rock to the next. And then by the time you did that once, it was an hour later, and the first rock had rested, 90 minutes to 2 hours probably, and it was time to do it again. So, and some of the rocks, as I went through the tournament, some of them became, sweet spots, that just turned out to be better than others. So there was one rock in particular that I caught the majority of my weight off of. The majority of the ones that ended up being in my limits both days.
Now, we noticed it.
Go
ahead, James. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was your rod and reel setup and everything that you were using?
Yeah, I'm using, All 13 Fishing, another great group of people. And, they're just blowing the industry wide open. But I'm using a prototype spinning reel, Prototype X, with a high gear ratio. I designed all the rods in the Muse lineup, and the Muse Blacks. And one of the ones I'm most proud of, and a lot of guys have bought and just, can't say enough good things about it, is the 610 medium light. That's the rod that I use for rap shotting. And then, another thing that if guys will give it a try, they'll never go back to anything else, is Suffix Nano Braid. And a lot of people confuse it with Nano Fill, which was a horrible line that came out a long time ago. But this stuff is like silk, and it's I can use 6 or 8 pound test. I use 8 pound test on my main line with a 4 or 6 pound Suffix fluorocarbon leader, and I use a super long leader too, like at least 15 feet, maybe 20, just because of the clear water. But that's pretty much my setup. I was using a bigger. I had 2. Until somebody stole my rod on day 2, I had 2 drop shots rigged up. One with a 3/4 ounce tungsten weight, cylinder weight, and one with a half. And the half was on my 6 pound test, and the 3/4 was on my 6 pound, and the half was on my 4 pound. But the key was getting on those boulders and dropping that thing, 100 miles an hour, that 3/4. When the tougher it got, the bigger the weight, the better the better off you were. More like a reaction deal. So you'd mark that fish, and instead of being all finessey about it, you just drop that thing 100 miles an hour, and that was kind of triggering them to bite. It was a pretty cool deal. I mean, it's just stuff that evolves throughout the tournament. You never know what it's going to be. So it was kind of neat to figure that out when it got tougher.
Derek Atkins, I see a question. Go ahead, James. I just seen one question here I wanted to ask, but if you got something relating to
that's the same one I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Derek Atkins was wanting to know if he said, was it hard to remember that you were competing for length instead of weight?
Yes, and it was a bummer too, because some of the fish I caught, I had like 21.5 pounds on day 2 and probably 20.5 on day 1. I had some really fat ones, so I was, it's just such a waste, because the fatter they are, the shorter they are.
Yeah.
But it was hard. It was hard to remember a lot of things. I'm getting ready to. I don't have a whole lot of time here either. I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I got you.
But I was, like I said, there's so many rules, and I kept screwing up my, how I put the fish on the board. I had never measured a fish on a hog trough before, and thank God for fishing online and their floating hog troughs, because mine went in the water at least 10 times. But that was one of the mistakes that I made. The very first fish I submitted was submitted backwards. So I was showing the right eye of the fish, so the kayak people know what that means. I say that to my bass buddies, and they're like, what? But anyway, I screwed up there, and it was painful. You know, it wasn't a giant, but it was like 17 plus, and I measured it upside down. So I text the tournament director, and I'm like, dude, you know, I screwed up that fish. Are you going to count it? And he's like, nope. and so then later on that day, I needed one more big one, like right at the end of the day. And I caught a nice solid, 4 3/4 pounder. I think it was 18.5 inches, and it was going to call a 17. And I did it again. I had caught like 30 fish that day, submitted 20 of them, and did it all right. And then on that big one that I needed, I just got flustered again, screwed up, took 100 pictures of that stupid fish upside down and let it go. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I lost 1.5 inches that first day. And I had one of those 22 inchers on in the morning. Those are those big 6-pounders. I had one of those bites, and I had it close to the net 2 or 3 times, and it got off. So day one was very discouraging. That's the day I broke the cable. I lost my phone for 20 minutes. Usually it don't matter when you lose your phone, but when you're taking pictures of fish, all of a sudden it does. So it was awesome.
Yeah, kayak fishing is one of the things where I'm still learning how I want to set my kayak up. Like, I get out there and we fish rivers and we fish lakes, and it's different setups for each thing, and I'm still trying to figure out how I do certain setups. And I get out there sometimes still looking for tools. I'm like, man, I waste more time looking for crap. You're used to a bass boat where you got everything right there. You know your compartments. You don't have many compartments. The junk drawer is a big plus for the Bonafide, but it's also a negative for me and James, definitely, because I see James's kayak. But I'll have so much stuff stacked in there, I can't open it or can't find nothing.
Yeah. That's the hard part, man. It's like, fortunately for me, I've always tried to keep a light boat. All throughout my career, I would literally, empty my boat of only things that I needed. So I always just wanted to go as fast as the boat would possibly go. So I'm kind of used to downsizing and going light. But when you're talking about a 12-foot boat, that's, how wide are those things? 30-some inches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that brings a whole new meaning to the word downsizing. And I had a big time problem. I mean, because we had largemouth and smallmouth. We didn't know what the weather was going to do. So you're talking largemouth stuff and smallmouth stuff. But the cool thing about this style of event, all the largemouth stuff was in my truck. We can't usually do that. So it's cool to be able to, just rig it up for smallmouth. And if you had to abort or abandon ship, all you had to do is take everything out and put everything else back in,
Yeah. Well,
everything about it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a different sport. It's fun, but definitely a challenge. It's kind of like bow hunting. If you do a lot of hunting, it's going from rifle hunting to bow hunting is the way I like to see it. It's a little more, finessey to it. It's a little more thought to it. But we'll get you one more question here, and then we'll let you get going. I know you say you got to get up early in the morning. So, James, you see anything that's come in that you want to ask him?
I got one. Did you have the smallmouth? Were they flopping all over the place? I know they tend to do that a little bit more than the largemouth.
I didn't really have any issues. I can't say I practiced how I was going to measure them, but I felt like I had a really good plan. I heard a lot of horror stories, and when I was, months ago, when I was just watching videos of kayak fishing and just looking at stuff, I saw some really bonehead mistakes, and I've seen a lot of videos of bad things happen. So, I was just kind of prepared for that, the way that I positioned the hog trough. I had a net beside me. I feel like I mean, I'll be on your show 2 years from now complaining about one that got away from me, but I feel like I'll never lose a fish. I mean, I don't see how they could even get away. But the smallmouth were, you put them on there and they kind of tense up, Yeah. And as long as you keep your hand on them, I didn't have any. I didn't have one fish. I probably caught 80 fish in 2 days.
Jeez.
And never had one flop and get away from me. So.
Well, that's crazy. I know you down here in the James River, them daggone fish will flop and flop and flop. We always had to put them on like a fish grip or something like that and put them in the water, let them chill out before we can put them on a board because they are just nuts in this river here. But Dave, man, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I mean, they got questions after questions. I'd love to ask you more, but I know you got a lot going on, and like I said, hopefully you'll be able to make it down to the national championship. I know everybody on here would love to see you down there, so hopefully that'll work out for you. But just want to wish you luck for the rest, for next year and everything else you got going on with Bassmasters, and hope to hear from you soon, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate the offer and getting to clear the air a little bit and take on some of that negative stuff. That's always good, I think.
Oh yeah.
And keep me posted on whatever more feedback you get. I've got a new little series I started on YouTube called Hurricane Dave. That's kind of like the reputation I got around here because it's like real quiet until I walk in. But I guess so. But anyway, I did a video on on rigging, how I've rigged my Bonafide, and of course it's going to change. And then I've got a video coming out, actually a part 1 and part 2 very soon on this tournament. I got all those catches and my pre-fishing, I've got it all on three GoPros at all times. So there's going to be a lot of good video coming out here in a little bit. So make sure your people look out for that.
All right, man. We definitely will. I actually watched your last video you did with the Bonafide. That was a good video. So, guys, go check him out, and they can follow you on Facebook. Is it Dave Lefebre Fishing?
Dave Lefebre on Facebook, Lefebre8 on Instagram, and YouTube, Erie Extreme, the TV show that we have, and also Hurricane Dave. So.
All right. Well, Dave, I really appreciate you coming on tonight, buddy, and like I say. Hope you have a great week and a great rest of your year, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Well, that was a really good interview, guys. I appreciate everybody for sending all the questions in. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody's, but there were some really great questions. I appreciate everybody that tuned in and like I say, submitted questions because it really helps out carrying the conversation on and like I say, clearing the air with some stuff that that was going on, like we discussed yesterday, and he kind of felt bad talking to him about it because some of the stuff he didn't even know nothing about. So like the bass boat thing, he didn't know about. So when you ask questions like that, you're kind of like, well, dang, now he's really going to worry about it, and he might not want to fish anything else. So I don't know. I think he'll be in. I look forward to seeing some of these other guys come in. They see how he did and test the waters, and you might see a lot more of these guys come in. So I'm hoping that will happen. I want to thank everybody so far that's been telling us thanks for the interview, and also yes, I see said the hook was talking about Casey. Casey will not be able to make it in call in tonight. He's working late, so that's kind of a bummer. But I'm going to work on getting Casey on maybe for next week. And maybe we'll get some time in to ask him some questions. That kind of gives everybody some time to get your questions together, and that way we can ask Casey when he comes on next. Maybe we can work something out with getting Chad Hoover on. So maybe that could be something we work on next week. I don't know. He's like everybody knows. It's been following. KBF knows Chad Hoover's got some stuff going on. So everybody just keep him in your prayers, him and his family. So we'll work on trying to get it, but we'll see what happens. But we also got the Elite, the championship starts tomorrow. The what do they call it? I'm having brain farts tonight. What is it, James? It's the Elite Championship fish-off weekend. So I think Friday.
Yep.
I think it's Friday they start the Bass Live. It's either Friday or Saturday. So I'll be glued to the TV on that. I hopefully, James, you have some time to look at it. And then if we get, hopefully, whoever wins that and AOI, we'll be able to get them on and talk. It's a really close race with Josh Burstrand and oh man, there goes the names.
Justin Lucas.
Yep, Justin Lucas. So
Justin Lucas.
Yeah, man, I can't remember names for nothing right now. I don't know why. What's wrong with me? But anyways, so guys, if I'm going to start a contest. James, I didn't even discuss this with you, but I'm going to discuss a contest that I want to do on Facebook and Instagram. So what I want you guys to do is send us pictures of your personal best. And what we're going to do is on the shows, we'll pick a winner out of the personal best. Keep them coming, and we'll do it. And what we'll do is we'll put a lot of our contest people, people that submit their fish, we'll have a spot right here, maybe where the OneObjective sign is at the bottom, with everybody's fish that's scrolling through. So everybody can see your personal best, and then we'll pick a winner. So let's see, what's today's date? The 19th. So if y'all go ahead and send them in to us, and then probably by, let's just say, the 19th of next month. Keep sending them in. We'll keep putting the pictures up, and then we'll pick a winner and send you a little tackle pack of some different baits and stuff like that. We're going to start doing some contests on here, but we're trying to figure out which way we want to do it. I think we might, just kind of looking at how the show's been going, maybe we can start picking from the people that are watching and or people that are commenting, you know what I mean? So we can start going through randomly picking a winner and just doing a little bit, a little crankbait here and there, or a pack of worms or something like that. We're talking with sponsors right now to get some more some more merchandise. So if anybody's listening, you got a company, you want to send some stuff in to give away, hit us up, oneobjectivebf@gmail.com, or you can message us on Facebook or Instagram. We check that regularly. So other than that, guys, I don't really have nothing else we want to talk about. We kind of discussed everything yesterday with, all the topics that was coming up. I doubt I'll get out and do much fishing this weekend. I know James is talking about doing some. So next Tuesday we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to be talking about the Yak Lights fishing light that they're coming out with. We've been doing some testing with. And also we're going to be talking about our kill protector for your kayaks, the do's and don'ts of installing it. And that's about it. So stay tuned for next Tuesday. That'll be on next Tuesday's show. Guys, if y'all have any other questions, let's see him here for a second or two, and then we're gonna kick rocks. We're going to get out here and go to bed and get ready to go to work tomorrow. James, you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just would like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and thank all our sponsors that make this possible. And hope everybody has a good night.
All right, guys. Well, we will be talking to you guys later. Y'all have a great week. Stay tuned. James, you got your video coming up? Will that be coming out Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should be able to upload it right after we get off the phone.
All right. So look out for it for tomorrow. Might be tomorrow afternoon by the time we get everything set up. I'm not real sure. But anyways, look out for that. Guys, please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and please send those fish in Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. Send them on in, and that way we can start getting the fish pictures up. Guys, we'll talk to you later, and y'all have a great night. Oh,
all right.
I got to hit the transition button. Sorry. Y'all have a great night.
All right.